What's up, everybody? The hardest part of the ring is here, is queer, and is here for some tits and ass. It's kind of contradictory to say that I'm queer, but also here for some tits and ass. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Anyways, yes. Today we have some action for you guys. Not just action, non-stop action. And this non-stop action, it's not just partial non-stop action. Total non-stop action. TNA wrestling on Thanksgiving Eve, and boy howdy, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful for some Kevin Nash. I'm thankful for Jeff Jarrett. Thankful for fucking Elix Skipper and the NASCAR guy that's wrestling on this show for some reason. All of it I'm thankful for because, man, what a interesting question mark show. I was trying to think of an adjective for this pay-per-view that we're covering today, and I couldn't think of one because it's kind of there's a lot of with TNA there's always lots of hits and also a lot of misses. A lot of home runs, a lot of doubles, but also the occasional, the bat slips out of your hand and hits a tiny Mexican child in the crowd. So there's a little bit of everything. But all in all, it's always very fun to go back and watch old school TNA when they're still kind of trying to figure themselves out. And said it before, we're still kind of in that era where the X division is just starting to take off. The tag division is red hot, and Jeff Jarrett's still there holding down the main event. So don't worry, everybody, no shortage of Double J and all these shenanigans that follow him. And boy howdy do we get into it with Charlie from the GetCho podcast returns. You might remember him from the Ring of Honor show we did a few weeks ago. I believe that was Night of Appreciation. Really had a really good time with him on that show, so I figured I'd make him suffer and watch some old school. I'm kidding. There was a lot of good stuff on this show, but whether your opinion on that aligns with mine, the fact is that me and Charlie had a really good time talking about the show and other nonsense involving TNA. So with that, make sure to check out all of his information below. It's the GetCho podcast on all podcast platforms and at GetCho podcast on Twitter and Instagram and all that shit. So let's get to it. TNA Against All Odds 2005 with myself and Charlie from the GetCho podcast. Yeah, honestly, I kind of prefer doing them in the mornings just because I have that coffee buzz. And I feel like it's better than that morning, afternoon, the 2 p.m.s, as they call them. Sorry, there's somebody fucking jackhammering outside my window. I don't know if you can hear that.
That's a likely story. What are you doing over there?
Don't why are you asking everything about my life?
Jigsaw ass, get out of here. Some guy trying to saw himself out of a freaking trap right now. You're just watching him.
That'd be pretty tame for the street. I'll put it that way.
Oh wow. Oh no, for real. What's going on over there?
Anyways, so Jeff Jarrett. No.
Sorry. Stroke. Literally.
Oh, don't worry. We'll dive right into that.
Oh my god, that's just you know where I screwed up though. I watched every single match before the Jarrett match 2 weeks ago, so it's still it's not really fresh in my head. Yeah. So I'm I'm trying to remember everything.
Don't worry, I'll do my best to jog you.
A little bit. I'll need you on this one, but.
Because I've made that mistake before too. I'll watch a show and then I won't do the podcast for 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll be like, "Wait, what happened?"
Exactly. I trusted myself to remember, but then it was just I'll be honest with you, this whole election stuff has been all in my head. So I'm
Dude, I haven't watched any current stuff this week. I don't think.
Oh really?
Well, mainly because I did another podcast like 2 days ago,
Okay.
and I did this one, and I'm like OCD, so I have to watch like all the impacts, and if I do like a WWE one, I have to watch all the Raws. It's like a whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, same here. I did my podcast 2 days ago, so we're finally back. So
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, but I'll probably listen to it on my drive today.
Well, sorry in advance, then.
Sorry for anybody with ears.
It was like the ending is kind of ridiculous. But other than that, I mean, it's just regular bullshit.
I mean, that's you guys' charm, I feel.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like basically a barbershop.
Yeah.
An Asian barbershop.
Ooh, so it's all bowl cuts.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, that joke was like a bump set spike. That was pretty good, dude.
Yeah, I have like 12 more jokes, but I feel like you guys already covered them in your podcast. Something with the samurai sword instead of clippers. Something with that. All the tools are there for the joke.
We pay and change.
Yeah. But man, speaking of pain and change, total nonstop action.
Mm-hmm.
Man, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for coming on here.
Yeah, of course.
I know it's a pretty odd request of somebody to be like, hey, can you wake up early on a Saturday to talk about mid 2000s TNA?
Not my worst Saturday morning. It's okay.
It could be worse.
Yep.
But yeah, man. So you said you got a chance to watch it. I mean, from what you remember, what were your like overall general thoughts of the show? Like, did it meet your expectations or not?
Yeah, it's you ever watch Mad TV, that show Lowered Expectations?
I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
Basically, it's a dating service, and it's the people's profiles they're all just like clunkers. So it's so basically, like, I'll just get to the point. Like, I didn't have much expectations for it, and then it worked out well. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I found myself being entertained, but not for the right reasons.
Yeah. that's pretty much TNA in a nutshell.
Exactly. It's like the bookers are like, oh, they're gonna love this. I'm like, not for the reason that you think you do.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should ask, did you like watch TNA as it was going on?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't have cable back in the day, so it was all just like internet. And you know how internet wasn't that big in the wrestling industry, so it was all hearsay. It was all like you're finding stuff here and there. So I knew about like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels, but I didn't actually watch anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like happened to stumble upon it in like 2006, 2007. Mm-hmm. So like this kind of era right here is something that I've never seen before, and I was like, against all odds, 2005. I really don't know anything that happened on this show. And then, kind of when you're watching it, you can kind of understand why, because there's a lot of like stuff that's either like very forgettable or stuff that feels like it's like the first chapter in like a bigger story.
Yeah.
But TNA, I always have fun watching TNA shows because, like you said, there's some stuff that's just hilariously bad, like car crash bad, but there's also like some pretty good wrestling mixed in between. So
yeah,
it's a pretty good combination of like all kinds of enjoyment, I think.
I just don't get it. It's like a bunch of like assholery. So it's total nonstop assholery. And I'll all of a sudden a great match breaks out. I'm like, what just happened here?
Yeah, exactly. There's like, that's always what TNA was. They had like some things they did really well. Like this is a small thing, but the opening video package to the show, I don't know if you remember, but it was like so epic. Like it got me so it had like that like Morgan Freeman guy. It wasn't Morgan Freeman, but the guy, he like just passed away, I think, recently.
Who?
I couldn't tell you his name.
Okay.
But he had the talks like this.
Yeah.
AJ Styles. That guy.
So Sean Connery.
Yeah. Was that what it sounded like? Oh no.
Let's just call him Logan Freeman.
Logan Freeman. I got it.
No, but you're right. That opening package was incredible. That voice, it just makes me want to watch anything. It could have been like another like political debate. I've been like, oh yeah, here we go. Let's watch it.
Give me some more in my veins.
More Pence versus Kamala Harris. Let's do it.
Oh, I need it. But yeah, like some stuff like that, TNA did pretty well. And then like the first match represented like what they had right. Is Petey Williams versus Elix Skipper. So it's at this point. So this is their fourth ever like 3-hour official pay-per-view. So they're still like pretty new in the grand scheme of things, and they just moved to the Impact Zone like a couple months ago. So they're still like figuring things out, and they're still like in kind of in this mindset of like trying to be WWE, but they're kind of transitioning out of it at this time, which gives us stuff like this. And they know like the X Division, they're starting to realize that's like the thing that sets them apart from everybody else. And so they throw this match out here to open the show, and I thought that was a really good call. So Petey Williams versus Elix Skipper. It's not a title match or anything, but Mike Tenay does mention on commentary that the next pay-per-view, Destination X, is going to be a 4-way Ultimate X match for the title. So this match is like kind of unofficially a qualifying match for this. So I kind of like that because it sets like some stakes to it for a match that really didn't have any build or any stakes before. So yeah, you have like two really talented guys in the ring, obviously, but now you have like a reason to care about it. So that's another thing that I think TNA was pretty good at. So the match was fantastic. I mean, it's X Division match. You know what you're getting. I do like, for anybody listening or you, do you remember?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're probably the only one listening, to be honest. But let's be real.
All right, now it's down to 0 then. Let's go. My bad. Go ahead.
Seth Rollins me right there.
Yeah. You are the disciple. I am the Messiah. Anyway, go ahead. Oh, my bad.
Do you remember? You've seen Elix Skipper walk in the cage, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like because this is like fresh off of it.
This is him getting over the wall, right?
Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I just had to throw that joke in my bed.
But yeah, he like does a callback to it. He like sets Petey on the ropes and then walks the ropes to do a Hurricane Rana. But Scott D'Amore, who's out there with Petey Williams, Team Canada is all out there.
Yeah.
He holds on to Petey. Petey stays on the ropes, so Elix crumbles to the mat. Then they keep tussling for a little bit longer. And then Petey Williams goes for the Canadian Destroyer, which is actually a finisher in 2005.
What?
It's insane. It's such a concept I can't even grasp.
Yeah. Imagine that a guy does a full backflip on his head and
he stays down.
He stays down.
It doesn't just transition into a headlock takeover.
This ain't like Day of Reckoning or No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 or anything.
Day of Reckoning. This dude plays GameCube.
Oh, of course. Heck yeah.
Man. That's not a personality in a nutshell.
But I'll go ahead.
Just to kind of wrap it up. So he goes for the Canadian Destroyer, and then Elix counters it into like an Emerald Fusion type of move, which he calls the Sudden Death, and Elix gets the win here with that. So Elix Skipper beats Petey Williams, who Williams is like fresh off one of the longest X Division title runs at this point. So pretty big win for him. And I enjoyed the match. What about you?
I wanted to Elix skip it. Oh man, that joke just fell out.
I'm going to add dead air to that when I put this out.
No. Oh man, I was so excited for that joke.
I heard you. I heard you bursting at the seams. You had something in mind. I was like, oh my god, what's he gonna fucking? What's gonna dribble all over my face?
I actually love this match. It was really good. Like the one thing I took note of was like Petey Williams is so smooth in the ring. Like his transition, his offense, it was just fun to watch. And of course, Elix Skipper is great in himself. These two guys showed that that X Division was incredible, and it made me really want to watch that the next pay-per-view. Because like if this is just a preview of it, it was like, oh my god, these guys are great. The only thing that threw me off was the ending of the match. Where I love how D'Amore changed the momentum of the match. Where he blocked that Hurricane Rana was a great spot. This is what like managers are there for. To like create drama in the match, and he did it. He fulfilled his role perfectly. But the only thing that threw me off was like the near falls got really clunky. Do you recall that? Like it was just like near fall, but it was like it wasn't smooth. They were like kind of stumbling in their spots.
Yeah,
that took me away. That took me away from it. And then I also took note that Trish Stratus has a better matrix than Elix Skipper.
I would agree with that.
That was pretty bad. But besides that, that's just me being picky. I love the ending, like the one that you alluded to, where like he blocked the Canadian Destroyer, countered it to. I thought it was an air raid crash, but that move has like a million names.
Yeah. White noise.
Yeah, right there. So I'm like, I'm Emerald Flosion. Like I forget all the other names, but
right.
I loved it. It was a great opener, and it got me excited for the rest of the event.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I love, you touched on Petey Williams and how smooth he is. I think that needs to be like, I feel like I think underrated is such like an overused term. I hate to use it, but like he really is. I mean, I feel like, because he got kind of lost, not lost in the shuffle, but there was just so much talent in the X division during this time. And he kind of maybe got buried under like AJ Styles, Daniels, Mojo, and guys like that. I feel like people don't really give Petey Williams the credit for how good he was. And I mean, he was there for a long time. The whole Scott Steiner stuff.
Oh, I love that stuff.
That's like what I like associate him with now, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
The Maple Leaf Muscle, or
oh my god, I forgot. I forgot his nickname.
Oh, that was great. But yeah, he was known like pretty much like a one-trick pony because everyone knew him for the Destroyer. They're like, do the Destroyer, that's what everyone was so hyped up about. But then you forget that he was just as great in the ring. But then I think that's a testament to how great the guys that you aforementioned, like the AJ Styles, the Low Keys, and like the Christopher Daniels, how great they were to be able to overshadow such a talent like Petey Williams.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, it sounds like cliche and corny just because he's Canadian, but he reminds me, he's like an X Division version of Bret Hart. Like just how like smooth he is. Like just like simple moves he does. Like he does like a Russian leg sweep that makes me like jizz all over myself. It's so good.
Add in some more dead air in that one.
Touche.
No, you're right though. I mean, same thing. Like great minds think alike. Extra soggy tissues for that one. I know what you mean.
Exactly. That's gonna be the title of this episode. Extra soggy tissues.
No, it'll dry up after this match. I'll tell you that.
Yes, this next match will surely dry up or flaccid you up or whatever.
Flaccid you up.
Whatever buzz you had, whatever your genitals were doing in that previous match. There,
like this match made me Charmin Soft.
Charmin Soft. That's your nickname, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Frankie Kazarian and Michael Shane versus BG James and Jeff Hammond. So anybody listening, if you're like, who the fuck is Jeff Hammond? He's a NASCAR commentator. And if you're like, hey, why is a NASCAR commentator wrestling on a pay-per-view? My answer would be TNA. God, what a fucking cast of characters. So you have 3 live crew come out, which already is just a mess. It's a BG James, aka Road Dogg, R-Truth, and Conan. So, I mean, I guess the idea is like, oh, different races, how are they going to get along kind of deal. But it's like, then you add
our music.
Do you not like their theme song?
Actually, I kind of did like it. It's sad to say. I don't know. I don't know why, but I like K Quick's music or Road R-Truth, K Quick.
There's
like
so many names.
Yeah. Like, I was a sucker for his theme song in Get Rowdy. You know what I'm talking about in WWE? Yes. Yeah, I actually kind of like their theme music. So,
dude, I've brought up Get Rowdy like 3 times on this podcast to people, and they're all like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I'm fine. I'm glad I have somebody that can appreciate it too.
Thank you. But same thing. I'm probably gonna go 1 for 1 and just say it now and never say it again.
Yeah, that's all I need. But so we got a tag team match here so they're on one hand, I could see what TNA is trying to do at this point. They're still very early in their development. They just got to not FS1, but like some Fox channel, some like offshoot Fox channel, and so they're trying to get some mainstream coverage, I guess. And I mean, I used to be really big into NASCAR, so I knew who Jeff Hammond was, and he's a name associated with that sport, which is more mainstream than TNA, obviously. So I get them bringing him in. And you can tell by the way he talks. Like I said, I watched all the impacts leading up to this, and they would have him on commentary a lot. And you could tell just from how he was talking that he was like a lifelong wrestling fan, and that he knew like what he was getting into, and he knew like the context of everything. So for that, I can appreciate. But the match here. So the crowd, first of all, the first thing I noticed, the crowd just sounded annoyed that this match was happening. And I mean, the match was what it was. It was kind of short, thankfully. But ultimately, who gets the pin? Jeff Hammond. Ugh. How does he get the pin? With the pit stop.
Oh my god!
What are your thoughts on the pit stop elbow drop?
I mean, okay, that's a move. I'm not 100% angry about it because that's a move where you can get over. Sort of like the worm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
if you pin people over and over with that move, then it's okay. It's like sort of like what's the other move I'm thinking about by Santino Morello, the Cobra. Yeah,
Or even
same
like
thing.
the people's elbow.
The people's
Kind of
elbow.
a similar.
Thank you. It's like you can get it over, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But I'm assuming this is like Jeff Hammond's only match ever. So we're supposed to
Probably.
to believe that he runs in a full circle and falls on top of somebody, and then it's supposed to finish someone. So I
Well,
was like,
okay. I gotta stop you there. He's
go
not
ahead.
running. He's not running in a circle. I don't know if you notice his hands, but he has his hands on the steering wheel. So he's actually driving in a circle.
Oh, that makes it so much
Mhm. Do
worse.
you get it? Do you get it?
I 100% get it, and I didn't want to get it.
NASCAR.
You could have kept it. Wow. Oh. So the only thing I thought of was like, this is definitely when Frankie Kazarian quit TNA.
Yes, I was about to mention that because he did. I think it was right after the show, actually.
Oh, wait, are you serious?
Yeah, I mean,
That
this
was,
is
that
his
was a
last
joke.
appearance.
Oh my. So he left. Because like a lot of guys when they leave, they put over stars. He put over NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I didn't realize that until I was kind of like looking over the show after I watched it. So I had no idea that Frankie Kazarian went to WWE. I have like no recollection of that.
He did?
He did. He
Oh my
wrestled on Velocity. Dude, he was the future Frankie Kazarian. They built. I actually turned on an episode of Velocity last night to watch this, and he debuts with like a promo, and then he faces Nunzio, and then he's like undefeated on Velocity for like 2 or 3 months. But that's like the extent of what he did, and then I think he left like right after that.
Did he get pinned by like Kyle Busch or something?
Man, your NASCAR knowledge has some depth to it.
No, I had to go deep into my brain on that one, but
Just Wikipedia it real quick.
no, I know some racers. I was gonna say like Petty or some shit, but
Oh, man.
I knew Kyle Busch's whole name, so
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, after this match, so I guess when you look at the characters in this match, you have BG James, who we'll get to later, but he's pretty much involved in something else after this. Frankie Kazarian's gone. And Michael Shane, I mean, I don't know what happens with Michael Shane. I know he had a pretty good run in Ring of Honor, but in TNA, I don't really think he did much.
see, thanks to you, I've seen more Michael Shane than I care to see. This is the second show where we're like, oh look, more Michael Shane.
Then more Michael Shane is what everybody is clamoring for in 2020.
It's just as useful as more cowbell.
Yeah.
But not as popular.
Well, Michael Shane, the cousin of Shawn Michaels. So one thing also from this match is he broke out the sweet chin music, like with the stomp and everything.
Yeah.
And then he missed whoever, I guess Jeff Hammond. He ducks and then he hits his partner, and then it's a whole thing. You know that whole thing. But
yeah.
So yeah, Jeff Hammond thankfully gets the win here. Hopefully that guy gets built and gets a world title shot sometime down the road.
Yeah, maybe.
Hold on. Hopefully he drives into victory lane.
Hopefully he reverses back to where he came from.
Yeah. Hopefully he drives into a wall somewhere.
Well, I mean, whatever. This if I had to give this match a rating, I gave it 2 MAGA hats face down.
Is that? That's like 3 negatives. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Negative -5 stars.
Well, you might want to save those negative stars for this next match here.
Okay.
So yeah, Dustin Rhodes versus Raven, and this is not 1994 WCW. This is not WWE. This is 2005 TNA. Dustin Rhodes versus Raven. And do you hear that drill?
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone behind me is just brushing their teeth.
Oh, okay. It's good improv there.
No, for real. What is that?
See, I think someone's probably building a deck like 10 feet away from me.
Oh my God.
Perfect time.
They're building the new Hell in a Cell cage, but this time it's gonna be blue.
Dude, no shit. This is like totally off topic. I literally had a dream where they had Hell in a Cell,
but
like every match they like made the color different. It's a very uninteresting story, but it's just bizarre that you brought that up when I literally had a dream of that a few hours ago.
Do you know what? I could see WWE doing that now, like modern times. Like if they had a Sin Cara match, the cage would be blue and yellow.
Oh, it's just a matter of time before it's all LEDs and it's just like flickering different colors.
No, that would be awesome if it was like Naomi versus like Liv Morgan and like it just kept flickering like different lights the whole time.
Nobody has said it would be awesome to see Naomi versus Liv Morgan in Hell in a Cell. That is not a thought that's ever seeped out into the ether.
I'm sorry. Iron Man match, like 1 hour, 60
ultimate submission.
Dude, yeah. It'll be like it'll be just like Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, where there's like no falls. Like,
yes. Sudden death.
Sudden death. Jose Lothario's in the background. Like,
oh my god! If that's what WWE needs, it is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I totally interrupted you.
No, you didn't. You interrupted my mindless rambling.
No, that's a really interesting story. Wow, interesting dream. I usually dream about other things, but
well, let's talk about it.
No, God, no. Raven versus Dustin Rhodes.
Speaking about wet dreams,
yeah, exactly.
Dustin Rhodes versus Raven, and so the whole premise of the storyline here is that Raven, he's kind of on a losing streak. So on Impact, he beats some random jobber, and then he breaks Cassidy Riley is the guy's name. And then after the match, he breaks his fingers for no reason, and then just keeps beating the shit out of him. But then old Natural comes out to save the day. And then Raven doesn't like that, and then now we have a pay-per-view match. So now we're all cut up. All caught up.
Makes sense.
And again, this is like, two guys with name value. So I see what they're going for, but like they're kind of transitioning out of it, thankfully, where they know that's not really what people want to see. And you kind of get a sense from the crowd watching this that they didn't really care about this match. But this match just felt like, because Dustin Rhodes actually has had some okay matches in TNA, but this was not one of them. And it just felt like there was no like peaks or valleys to it. It just felt kind of stale to me. Like I didn't care about it, and at no point was I like on the edge of my seat waiting to see what happened. But ultimately, Raven just wins out of nowhere with his feet on the ropes. So yeah, there's a whole post-match thing too. But what do you think about the match itself?
All right, How long is this podcast?
5 hours.
Okay, good, because 4 of those hours might be on this match.
Fantastic.
Oh, okay, so you know how I just gave that one match like -3 stars?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's like -33 because it's just like I don't know where to start about how bad this is. First of all, the looks of these wrestlers, like how they look,
really good, right? A couple of athletes.
Yeah, I guess so. like it's like maybe in golf.
Yeah. Happy Gilmore golf.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, well, just to put it in perspective, if Guy Fieri were Mario, right? Uh-huh. Dustin would be Luigi. That look that he came out, it was like, and it looked like he drew his beard with like a makeup pen.
It really did.
Or like a Sharpie. He just looked god awful. But then, like, just as if you can't stop right there. Then you see Raven. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my god, he really let himself go, didn't he? Like, this is like definitely the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
Raven. Yeah. Raven. Okay, I'm gonna spot off. Raven looked like an evil Tatanka.
Evil. Did he have the black face?
Oh, like,
you remember that?
I know exactly what you're saying, but
yeah, there's no way to transition from that.
Yeah, exactly, but it just amazed me how like out of shape he was, because it's kind of embarrassing, So Raven, like here, I got Raven. He looking like Raven Simone.
Oh. No one wants to hear that.
He's looking more like Raven Flax to the fridge. Looking like, quote the Raven, I'll eat some more. Looking like, I got. There's so many jokes that I just thought of.
We need 12 more. I'm gonna need 12 more.
12 more? Okay. Raven looking like, his old persona in WWE.
Yeah.
Sky Flamingo.
Oh, that yeah. Old. Oh, I thought I was thinking like 2001.
Oh no, this was
Scotty Flamingo, is that what his name was?
yeah. But he looked in this one. He looked like Scotty ate the whole flamingo.
Oh, okay.
I see that. All right, I'm here every Saturday morning, guys. Every Saturday morning.
Unfortunately, he's here. I can't
Well,
get rid of him.
well, anyway, this match was like the world's shittiest upskirt video because like that killed.
Wait, hold on. Is there like a scale for upskirt videos?
Well, if there was, this would be the worst one.
That's that. It's fuck the star rating. We need upskirt video stars.
This kind of goes back to what my dreams would be.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, okay.
Up Raven skirt.
Anyway, this match was like I don't know what to say because it's like it was like one of the worst book matches I've ever seen because it's like okay, they did a ref bump after the match. You remember that? Like for some reason,
for no reason. Yeah,
it was like no reason. Like why is there a ref bump when he was gonna cheat to win anyway? Like he cheated it with his feet on the ropes, but the ref went down after the match. Like why?
Exactly.
You know, and like same thing. It was like in the middle of the match, like they were trying to just tease this whole like ankle lock. You know, like they had Raven doing the ankle lock.
Devastating.
Yeah, but then it was like he didn't work the leg the whole match. All of a sudden, he just puts in the ankle lock, and we're supposed to think that and Dustin's selling it like death.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm just saying, like, why? You know, and then and here's the best part. Remember at the end of the match, he said there was well, end of the match shenanigans.
Yeah.
Raven throws the shittiest super kick I've ever seen, and that knocks out Dustin just enough for him to get a whole like what's that called? The
straight jacket
on him, where Dustin doesn't even like resist. He just lets him put the jacket on him, and then he throws him into the ring. Takes off the straight jacket, wraps it around the post.
Like, what are you doing?
And then he whips him with a belt. But then it's like you just put a whole heavy jacket on him. How much is that going to hurt?
Well, so just to kind of expand on what you're talking about. So after the match, Raven puts on this straight jacket on Dustin, and not only does he not resist, but he kind of like helps him a little bit. And it's like this whole thing is taking so long to put the straight jacket on. Rolls him into the ring. I don't even know what he does. He like punches him a little bit with the straight jacket on, and then he unties it like almost immediately, and then he like puts Dustin in the corner and then like ties the arms together, which is like fine. You want to put him in the corner. It's like kind of like handcuffing him to the corner. It's fine. But then all he does is literally whip him with a belt like once or twice. By the way, Dustin still has a shirt on. I think he did like undo the straight jacket, but he still had like a t-shirt on, and he did like this weak ass whip with a strap, and then he just went home. So it's like it's so clear that like, and this is kind of a problem TNA had, kind of like all throughout their lifespan. I guess they're still existing, but they bring in these legends or big names, but they just don't care. And it's like, it's cool that you can have these names on your card. It's like, oh, Raven's on this card. It must be a big show. But then you actually watch it, and it's so evident that neither of these guys really care that much. You see that a lot with like, we'll see that more in the main event. We've seen that in past pay-per-views in 2005, 2004. They bring in like the Scott Halls and the Jeff Hardys even. These guys just, they feel like they're not on the big stage, and it's so evident like in their faces and like what they're doing. And I feel like this match like represented that perfectly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, like, you know how we were talking about like how this match was a car wreck, right? Well, like no, the match before was a car wreck. This one was a NASCAR pileup.
Yeah, it should have been the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
but man, if you just to continue on the TNA stuff, what do you remember about Triton?
I saw that package and like I was like, "Who the heck?"
You saw his package? I missed that.
I must have been watching another video. Sorry. Triton holding his Triton. I think it was that Mordecai.
No, so I looked this up.
Okay.
Because I had literally no recollection of Triton, and apparently, so I forget what his name is. He's no one big, but he comes in.
His Triton was big.
It's his Triton. He had a huge Triton, huge turgid Triton. And so he comes in, he like builds up to a match with like like Monty Brown or somebody at the next pay-per-view. And then I think it's like a really bad match. And then they just kind of like throw him in a tag team. And then within like 3 or 4 months, he's released. So they have all this build up. They have all these vignettes on Impact and this huge segment on this show on the pay-per-view. And then ultimately it's just so funny that there's so much build up with like literally no payoff.
Did he ever surface anywhere else? Like, who was he?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, cool.
I looked it up last night, but I already forgot.
That's how significant it was.
Ryan Wilson was his name.
Ryan Wilson. Okay.
So he was with TNA
Uh-huh.
until May of 2005, and this show is like February 2005. So I'm sorry, June, but it's no better.
Either way, yeah.
But then by November of 2005, he's with Ohio Valley Wrestling in WWE.
Oh, okay.
And let's see here. He wins the OVW championship at some... Wait, no, that's not him. Yeah, he does nothing. And so yeah, he pretty much is a non-factor in all of wrestling. How old is he now? Sorry, we're just going down the rabbit hole with Ryan Wilson. It doesn't even show his age. Nobody cares. So
wow.
So yeah, that's the ultimate Triton's debuting on Impact next week. Nobody cares. But what do we got here? Next match finally got some good, at least. NWA Tag Team Championship. We have America's Most Wanted versus Kid Cash and Lance Hoyt, otherwise known as Lance Archer, which is so funny too. It's so funny, like you look at these guys in this match, and it's just funny to see like where they would go in the future. Like Lance Hoyt, obviously, is Lance Archer. Now he's a big deal in AEW. It might have taken him fucking 15 years to become a big deal, but he did it. And then he got Braden Walker on the other team. So
I completely forgot that Chris Harris is Braden Walker, even though it's nice, dude. Like, what a callback,
dude. It's one of my favorite knock. What is it? Hey, knock. Gonna knock your brains out. I don't even know. It's not even a joke.
Oh, I thought.
No, we'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Knock.
What?
God fucking damn it! I was so ready.
Get away from my lawn. Wait, you really want to do it? Because I kind of want to hear this joke now.
I don't know if I want to do it anymore.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it.
Okay, go.
Knock.
Who's there?
Braden Walker, and I'm gonna knock your brains in.
What the hell?
That's the.
Oh man, this is
so with that in mind, it's like you see Chris Harris going nose to nose with Lance Hoyt.
And
it's like, man, in 2020, this would be just a joke.
AEW Dark.
Exactly. Squash match dark. So yeah, this match for the tag titles. At this point, AMW actually has like a lot of momentum going. This like we talked about earlier. This is fresh off that match they had where Elix Skipper walked the cage. They've had like a lot of really good matches with Triple X and had a really good match with Team Canada on the last pay-per-view. So they got a lot of momentum. They're probably like one of the bigger names as far as like homegrown guys they have right now. And they're really making like the tag division mean something, which once again, just like the X division, that's something that's not really being provided by WWE. So it's really something that they're like identifying as something that differentiates themselves from the competition, which is good. But Kid Cash and Lance Hoyt, I had a tough time caring about them. I've never really liked Kid Cash. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I hate Kid Rock, and that's obviously what he's going for.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kid Rock?
I'd rather talk about Kid Cash.
Yeah. So would everybody else. But the match actually was pretty good. It had kind of a slow start. Even some boring chants in the beginning, but it eventually kicked in. He had a crazy like springboard Hurricane Rana from Kid Cash.
Yeah.
It almost like fucking crippled him, but it looked beautiful. He had a sidewalk slam off the top rope from Lance Hoyt. But then ultimately towards the end, Kid Cash gets handcuffed to the ropes. Kinky. But that's kind of like AMW's thing, I guess. So they cuff
They're
him.
kinky.
They're indicate. Don't kink shame them.
Okay, Billy and Chuck.
God, I'm trying to think of like an acronym for AMW.
Oh,
my mind's not moving fast enough. We'll put it in post.
All American wet ass. Oh god.
all all meaty wieners. I don't know.
Oh, not bad.
There we go. We got something. We'll workshop it a little bit.
Okay.
So I do like the end of this match because they're kind of working on James Storm's back during the whole match, and he's doing a great job at selling it. So when they go to hit the death sentence, which is like James Storm holds the guy like cowgirl, I guess. I don't know how to describe. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's like a airborne missionary.
Do you remember the Dicks from WWE?
Yo, man, like that's what the hell are you doing?
It was a tag team. You don't remember them? They had like suspenders.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was there. I don't know why I remember
short guys.
This. Yeah,
the short dicks.
Like, the short dicks. Yes.
So the Chodes versus the Who's.
Yes, that's 2000 SmackDown.
They wore suspenders and neckties, right?
Yeah, they were like Chippendale guys.
Yeah.
Literally, they had like a match, and then they were like thrown in the trash. But that's the same finisher they had. Is why I bring them up. It's like a leg drop while the other guy's holding them. But James Storm, his back has been worked on, so he can like barely get him up, and Chris Harris has to get the crowd to clap and get behind him, and then he finally does it. He fights through the pain, and then they hit it, and then A&W wins. So this match is a little better than I expected. I guess I expected a lot from A&W, but I didn't expect a lot from Kid Cash and Lance Hoyt. So I guess it kind of met my expectations. A lot of false finishes in this match. I don't know. It was kind of a fun match towards the end. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, I was a big fan of Kid Cash because I watched a lot of his stuff in ECW, so it was fun to see him again. And like just like I was talking about Petey Williams earlier, Kid Cash is just as smooth, especially working the ropes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was like basically like luchador level, like just like kind of like running around. I was sitting like, man, this guy can go. Like,
made it look really easy.
Yeah, he made it look really easy. So I loved watching Kid Cash work. And then like the one thing about Lance Hoyt, him and Ron Killings must be in the same like time machine,
right?
You know what I mean? That's just 15 years ago. They look exactly the same, and like
they're not better.
Yeah, exactly. They look better. It's not like they're Asian, where it's like we have an excuse. It's like.
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? It's like he just looks incredible. So props to these two guys who don't age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought this match was all right. It was like a basic match where like you alluded to, it was like they had worked on James Storm. James Storm like get the hot tag. Like there was a lot of good like near falls in this match. I think Kid Cash actually hit Storm with the title belt. And then and it was a good near fall. So I like that a lot too. So this match was actually not bad at all. It wasn't like like 4-star, 5-star level match, but it was entertaining and I didn't hate it.
It's not a match I would go back and watch again, but I enjoyed it for the time I did watch it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was good. But
I hope you have some of those negative stars still in your satchel for this next match. Full Metal Mayhem. Abyss versus Jeff Hardy. So first of all, I loved seeing these guys on SmackDown a few weeks ago. That was like my first thought when I saw this match.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Whatever happened to that, by the way? I loved Joseph Park as AJ Styles. Like, what was his statistician?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess he just got a really good tan and stopped talking.
That would happen. That sounds like a thing that would happen.
That's the skin cancer.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. No, it's got cancer. I'm sorry.
Speaking about cancer, let's talk about the stipulation.
What a transition. Wow. You are on your game this morning, sir.
But God, dude, this is like classic TNA where they have a stipulation, but they just take it like 2 levels too far. So Full Metal Mayhem is a TLC match with a different name for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So ladder match stipulation, you have to climb and grab the thing. But no, not just one thing. You have 2 options of things to grab. So there are 2 envelopes hanging from the rafters. One has a contract for a world title shot. One has nothing. So it's like it's kind of a predecessor to the feast or fired concept they would ripoff from WWE in the next couple of years, where it'd be like 4 briefcases in each corner, and each briefcase had like a different thing, but it's all based on luck, right?
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a foreshadowing to it. So yeah, so there's 2. Yeah, what did you think about the 2 envelopes thing?
I actually didn't hate it too much. Like at first, I was watching, I was still like, really, But when you think about it too, it's like you create heat on the second the second envelope, because when he reached up to, when you get the first envelope, you already know like, oh, there's nothing in there. So it's like, okay, now we know this match is gonna end. So I didn't hate it that much, but it was still pretty stupid because the whole idea of the match is, of course, to go up and grab the envelope. That's the main idea. And then you get up there and you still don't win yet because it's nothing in there. It just adds to, like, I guess it kind of adds to the mystery of what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But then it's like, at least they stuck to 2 envelopes, because they could have easily went like 10 envelopes.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, oh, that's not this one. Oh, not this one.
There's a whole filing cabinet hanging from them.
Exactly, and all you get is like a bunch of paper cuts, which with Abyss would be like another day at the office for him.
Yeah, exactly. Has to pull out his readers to look through it, fumble through all the files.
Yeah, exactly. But then and actually, it would, for Jimmy Havoc, it'd be like it would just give him more weapons. He would just like take those envelopes and cut you in your fingers and shit.
Oh man, that sounds like a thing CZW would do.
Yeah, like, which, if you ever want to review one of those one day, I'm down. Like, because those are train wrecks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't hate it as much, and like, actually, I know how you were asking about negative stars. This one was like, it got a star from me, because
a star. Okay.
Yeah, it got a star from me because this match was an ECW match with a budget. Because it's like, if it was basically an ECW match where basically Hardy took all of Sabu's move set. Everything from the Arabian Facebuster to, like, just the air Sabu. He was doing all of Sabu's moves, and so the only reason why I say it's with the budget, because the background is well lit and it's all fancy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I didn't hate this match. I thought it was a well paced bump fest. Like the Swanton on the ramp was fun, predictable, but it was fun.
Right.
Where he, like, goes through a crowd and like flips onto him. So I didn't hate it that much. The only thing of note, I don't know if you noticed this, was the ending bump. Where
what the hell was that?
Yeah, like where basically Abyss throws Jeff Hardy over the top rope and eliminates him from the Royal Rumble, and then Jeff Hardy lands at the 4 stacked tables.
I'm sure it was brutal to take.
Yeah, it looked brutal, but then, like, I'm sure it didn't go the way they wanted to, because Jeff Hardy just absolutely loses his shit.
Dude, yeah.
He starts like mudhole stopping the table, like trying to break it, and like, and the match is already over. He's still like stopping away at the tables. So, like, I don't know what happened there. Like, I don't know.
Kind of no selling it.
Yeah, he didn't no-sold the match. He just got up, starting shooting on the tables for some reason, and like, and like the commentators, they could have cleaned it up by, like, saying like, hey, this match meant that much to Jeff Hardy. He's really pissed off. But then you do that, they're just like, oh, he's pissed.
Yeah, just pissed in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't hate the match either. I think I had maybe more expectations going in. I think the match I was thinking this was their Monsters Ball match they had like later in the year. I thought that's what this match was, but it wasn't. So I probably had higher expectations. So that's probably what, because he hit like a way cooler Swanton and that other match. Even though this one was pretty cool for what it was. But yeah, the end of the match. So like we said, there's 2 envelopes, and Jeff Hardy climbs the ladder. He grabs one of them, and of course it's the one with nothing in it. But I feel like they just didn't capitalize on it. He grabs it, he sees there's nothing in it, and you should, like, at that moment be feeling an emotion of like exhaustion, frustration. The crowd didn't even seem like they saw him grab it. They there was a zero reaction to it. And I thought, I don't know, maybe this was the actual plan and something just went awry. We had that stack of 4 tables on the outside of the ring. So it would have made sense for Jeff Hardy to grab that envelope, see that nothing's in it, and then get pushed off as he's like despondent and like exhausted, to get then pushed over through that stack of tables. That's what I thought was going to happen, especially he's on that big ass ladder.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they called an audible, or maybe if Abyss fucked up, or if Jeff Hardy fucked up. Actually, because I think Jeff Hardy, he like saw the envelope was empty and he just got right down and then shifted the ladder over to the other one.
It's like, oh well.
They're not like maximizing the value of what they're doing. Like, 'cause first of all, you could just like put the ladder in between them. I feel like, right, and just grab one or grab both of them. They even mentioned that on commentary, like, oh, Jeff Hardy, he's got that tall ladder. He could even put it in the middle and grab both contracts. But then he just doesn't do it. That makes him look like a bonehead.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate the match really. I think I just had higher expectations, and like ultimately, like the concept, I don't feel like they really embraced it or executed it as well as they could have.
Yeah, but judging from what you said, they made up for it later on with another hardcore match.
That's true.
Yeah, and then same thing. Like I was expecting like thumbtacks and stuff too, because I've seen like a bunch of clips of like Abyss going through thumbtacks like every single match. Yeah. So like I was expecting that, but other than that, like I agree, it wasn't the worst match in the world. I thought it was a fun bump fest.
It was fun. Yeah. And I guess that's all that matters at the end.
Yeah.
But man, next match, Team Canada versus Monty Brown and DDP. So this match just reeks of like, oh, these guys aren't on the card. Let's just throw them in a tag match. And fun fact, it was actually supposed to be Scott Hall and Bobby Roode versus Monty Brown and DDP. But I guess, so I looked this up last night. I couldn't find anything on it. But I guess Scott Hall, he was done with because he was on the Impacts before this. He was on the previous pay-per-views. But I think he's gone until like 2007 at this point. So I don't know if he just like walked out or if he saw where he was on the card and said, fuck this, I'm not going to, be in some throwaway match, or if he's just had another thing with alcohol or whatever the fuck. Probably a mixture of everything, honestly.
Imagine that, Scott Hall being independable. That's
who would have thought?
Wow.
Who would have thought?
Kind of worked out for the better, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, it wasn't like a lot of heat to this match, but it was cool to see like Monty Brown and DDP, because I'm, big fans of both these guys, especially Monty Brown. The pounce, God, you see people do the pounce nowadays still, but nobody comes close to doing it as well as Alpha Male here.
You beat me to it. I was going to say the exact same thing. That pounce that we saw in this match was probably one of the best pounces I've seen in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, really good. And then Diamond Cutter after that. So you see like the two big finishers in TNA in one match. So for that, I guess it served its purpose. Kind of a cool down from the craziness of the last match, and also leading into the next match. So I wasn't offended by this match. It was solid.
Same here. I agree. I thought it was actually really fun. It was like a nice, like, this is like a send the fans home happy match, because it's like, like it's like the heroes, the faces thwarting the evil heels who kept cheating, because it was like a more of like a 4-on-2 match, and they just kept like stopping like the heels from like their dirty tactics, and like the fans were really into it. So I actually liked it a lot, especially the ending. Like that big pounce, and then having Eric Young fly off the top rope, and like DDP hits the Diamond Cutter.
Right.
Yeah, because like I wanted to see a Diamond Cutter. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of marked out for that. I was like, yes, like a Diamond Cutter. Woo!
Yeah. It's always cool to see the originator hit it.
Yeah, I just want to see DDP bang him.
So next match.
Oh man, what happened there?
Oh man. So someone interfered. Feedback. So we'll try to recover.
I think I'm just gonna assume that you didn't hear me, so I want to see DDP bang him.
I'm just gonna open the episode with that, and with no context.
It's a sexual epithet that I'm trying to portray.
Yeah. What was it? MJF had this shirt. It was like, I banged DDP's daughter.
Yeah, those something. Heel heat MJF. The guy is so good.
Yes. So X Division Championship on the line here in this next match, a 30-minute Iron Man match. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. Who doggy? So I mean, you see this on paper, it's going to be a good match. Although I will say, like, what are your thoughts on the Iron Man match concept in general?
If done right, it could be really good.
Yeah,
that's all I could say. Because like, it kind of bugs me. It's like the first pinfall should win the match. That's it's like
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and plus like when it comes to Iron Man match, like sometimes I just think of like, all right, if you finish somebody with like a big finisher in the middle of an Iron Man match, right, 15-minute mark, you hit him with like a, let's just say, a tombstone pile driver, right?
Right.
How come I just won't pin him for like 9 seconds to get 3 points right there? It's like
Right. Exactly.
yeah, that's the only thing that I don't like about Iron Man matches. But once again, if done well, like this match, it's good.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. That's pretty good. I mean, the one thing for me, it's kind of the same reason that I don't watch NBA is that it's like only the last couple minutes matter.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like you said, if done right, because I watched recently from Backlash 2001, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit in the Ultimate Submission match. And I
Uh-huh.
really enjoyed that match because it was like a realistic, because it was only submissions, so it's almost like an MMA. Like, you can get a fall at any second. You can catch a guy with an armbar, and then they have to tap out, but they tap out not because they're going to lose the match, but because they want to preserve themselves for the rest of the match.
Yes.
If the guy breaks his arm, I'm going to be worthless if my arm's broken, so I have to tap out and submit a fall. But in this case, like a more traditional match, it's like, okay, he beat him clean in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to like bounce back from that, I feel like.
To add on to what you said, like a good Iron Man match would be good too if, like, let's just say someone got caught in a roll up. It's like
Yeah.
so it's like your same thing. You caught him in a roll up, right? But it's a fluke victory. Prove it. And now you got to keep going, because you know what? You got me, but now I'm trailing, so I can get in desperation mode, and then I could tie this up, and then the last few minutes would just be like a sort of like a two count near fall fest, because you're trying to get that last victory before the 30 minutes are up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what this match was lacking a little bit. So I guess
Okay.
So they start off with kind of a slower pace, which makes sense because it's obviously it's a 30-minute Ironman match, so it makes sense. But about halfway through the match, Daniels wins with the Angel's Wings after blocking a 450 splash. So that makes sense. 15 minutes into a match, you get hit with a finisher and you get pinned. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, AJ eventually ends up countering a back suplex into a roll up, like a fluky roll up pin for the win. So that ties them up at 1-1. And then the match kind of keeps going on. AJ's busted open. But the one thing, like I alluded to earlier, what this match is lacking is that I didn't feel like there was urgency at the end of the match. I felt like Daniels was kind of like, I guess he's a heel. Maybe that's by design. But I felt like he was like kind of, his pace was slow. He was taunting the crowd. He like went out to the commentator's table and pointed to the title, said, that's my title.
Yeah.
It's like, you're tied 1-1. You need to get a fall here, bud. And there's 3 minutes left. Like, I don't know. That kind of, it didn't take me out of it, but it kind of bugged me, like the lack of urgency that was at the end of this match.
Yeah, and then like that's like that sense of urgency adds to a match. Like you
Yeah.
can, like, you really get behind someone because you can feel that they're really trying to win this match. But it's like that lackadaisical, like like feel to it definitely takes you away from it. But I mean, I wasn't mad at it because, like, I like the last exchange where what's his name, Daniels gets Styles and what was it, Koji Clutch.
Yep.
And like it's kind of remind, and like like he puts him in the submission and AJ's got to hold on. Just like he can't tap because this then the match is gonna be over. And it kind of reminded me of what's his name, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I was going to bring that
up. Exactly. Where like the blood's just pouring out of AJ's head, and then you're just trying to see if he's gonna give up, and then the blood just added like that just a little ounce of drama to it. So this wasn't the best Iron Man match I've ever seen, but I mean, it's still worked well to the concept. There was a lot of like for instance, how you talked about that 450. Like maybe AJ was a little overzealous. Like he wanted to get that lead so bad, he hit the 450, but it wasn't ready for the 450. And that's what led to his downfall. That's what led to him going down one, because he made that mistake because he knew it was an Iron Man match, and he did something that he wouldn't normally do in a regular match.
Right.
Yeah, so I that's why it's like, a lot of stuff did make sense too. So yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I liked it overall, and I guess we should mention the end of the match. So like you said, Daniels has him in the Koji Clutch. AJ Styles is bleeding, blood's everywhere. He's about to tap out. He's about to pass out, but then the clock strikes 0, so it's a draw at this point. But then the old director of authority, I forgot what his title was for a second. The director of authority comes out, Dusty Rhodes, and he calls for sudden death. So they do a sudden death. They continue the match, and then ultimately AJ Styles is able to fight through the pain and hit a Styles Clash on Daniels for the win, retaining his X Division championship. So it definitely keeps Daniels strong, I think, because he kind of had him beat towards the end of the match, I think. And it should be noted also, this is their first match in TNA, which is crazy because to think about the entire rivalry they had for like the rest of the decade, pretty much, and beyond.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, there's a lot of like first chapters and bigger stories. Like we saw that with Jeff Hardy and Abyss. And we're kind of seeing that here too with AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels because, it's a good match, but it definitely sets them up for even better things in the future. So with that in mind, I enjoyed it for what it was. Are
you telling me that TNA had some more Raven versus Dustin Rhodes matches down the line?
I think so. I think they actually main event the next pay-per-view in the what's the red cage?
Oh,
to climb out.
Oh man, I forgot what it was called. I know you're talking about Ultimate X. No, that's not Ultimate X.
It's like something. Yeah. It's something similar to that. Whatever it is.
Oh,
I think Raven.
I think they had another match. It was the full Plastic Mayhem.
I think they both just get in straight jackets and headbutt each other for 50 minutes.
It would have been more entertaining than that last match.
I'm like half joking because that sounds like a thing TNA would do. Straight jacket match.
Look that up because, it was probably another one of those orange clockwork matches or something.
Yeah, it's probably like a straight jacket on a pole or like a
straight jacket on a pole.
Yeah, so. But anyways, this was no straight jacket on a pole match. I like the Iron Man match.
The main takeaways, for one thing, I wanted to add was I forgot that AJ's TNA theme was so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that theme. I was like, whoa, I completely forgot about this. But it's okay because he's got that cool theme now. But that was one thing. And the other thing was this match just kind of solidified for me that everything AJ does, he does it with such power and pun intended impact.
Fun.
Yeah, he was so good. It was nonstop.
Yeah, he's so smooth.
Yeah,
so smooth.
And he was not even that. He was very hard hitting, and it was just great. Whether he was selling or on offense, I just couldn't help but watch it. It was that good. And then Christopher Daniels was there, but AJ Styles, he was just so good.
Yeah. I just heard what you said. No, he was definitely. I mean, they meshed really well together. Definitely in the future, and especially when you add Samoa Joe to the mix.
Yeah,
just fucking can't wait for that to get to that. But yeah, AJ, I agree with you. He's definitely he's like the ultimate babyface, where when he has fire, and you believe in it. But also when he sells and all that, you can also believe in that. So yeah, and he would only get better, which is insane.
I'll tell you one thing. Like I said, I haven't watched much TNA, and then after watching this match, it's man, I want to see some more AJ Styles because I never really saw TNA AJ Styles. So.
Oh really?
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
I've seen all of his New Japan stuff, but now that I've seen this match, he's younger, and it's just so much better. So I got to thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the pay-per-view before this, there was the Ultimate X match between him, Petey Williams, and Chris Sabin. That's another awesome match to see. That's the ultimate AJ Styles TNA match. Man, I feel
just add Michael Shane. That's 5 stars right there.
Dude, every match could use a little bit of Michael Shane.
From now on, I'm not even going to call him that anymore. He's only going to be Shawn Michaels' cousin.
If that's not a t-shirt, somebody's missing out. God. But that brings us to the main event. The NWA World Championships on the line. Jeff Jarrett versus Kevin Nash. And just to remind everybody, this is not 2000 WCW. This is 2005 TNA. Man, where do you even begin? So I guess the whole premise, the whole backstory here. So Jarrett's been champion since May, and this is February. So that's what, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And so he's like the longest champion that TNA's had. His reign of terror is firmly underway. And Kevin Nash, who was just in a faction with Jeff Jarrett like a month ago, but now all of a sudden he's a babyface. Who knows why? But that's pretty much the backstory here. Is that Kevin Nash wants to win the one title that he's never won, because he's been a champion in WCW, WWE, but he's never been an NWA champion. So that's his goal here. And then Jeff Jarrett's just going to Jeff Jarrett. And the stipulation here is that, because this is important, if Jeff Jarrett uses the guitar, he loses the title. So what does he do? He brings out a cello. I gotta admit, I popped hard for the cello.
Me too, actually.
That's not a sentence I've ever said before, and probably not one I will say again. But I popped hard for that cello, and so
it's like me describing my first boner.
Call it a cello, or is it a viola?
Hey,
we're all Asian. We all have tiny penises.
Who told you this?
But yeah, so they fight to the match starts. They fight to the back. It's a very like Attitude Era-esque match, and they never like say that this is a no disqualification match. But then they just start using weapons, and the ref's like, "Oh, you're big, so I guess that's okay." They fight to the back. Jeff Jarrett's busted open. His blonde hair is red. They're fighting all in catering. They come back to the ring, and that's when Jeff Jarrett brings out the cello, and he wields the cello. He grabs the cello by the handle, and it's a fucking cello, so it's heavy. So the handle breaks off, of course, because it's a fucking cello. And so he just grabs like the base, whatever you call it, of the chassis of the cello, and just hits Nash in the knee with it, which I'm sure hurts. I mean, cellos are pretty heavy. And then they fight for a little longer. Chairs involved. It's Kevin Nash in 2005. It's Jeff Jarrett in 2005. You know what you're getting into. You're going to need some shenanigans. Nash eventually grabs the cello. And he goes to hit Jeff Jarrett with it, and the ref, for some fucking reason, is like, no, you can't do that, even though they've been using weapons this whole goddamn match. And the stipulation is that Jarrett can't use instruments, not Nash. So it's like, why are you stopping Nash from using the cello? So it's a whole thing. I think a ref bump occurs somewhere, or low blow. Then Kevin Nash jackknifes Jeff Jarrett through the cello. Back out, that man has a family. Through the cello. And man. And then the end of this match, which where do I even begin? So jackknife through the cello, goes for the pin, but who comes out to save Jarrett? The one Billy Gunn. Mr. Ass comes out and he lays out Kevin Nash, puts Jarrett on top of him. Ref comes to, he counts 1, 2, kick out. Then X-Pac comes out. It gives the X Factor to fucking Kevin Nash. No, Jeff Jarrett. Sorry, this is so many pieces. It's hard to keep track.
No, you got it going, man.
There's so much.
I feel like I'm rewatching in my mind right now.
This is going to be better than actually watching the match. So to recap, so Billy Gunn comes out, then the next Pac comes out, and then Billy Gunn comes back. He's gonna try to lay out Kevin Nash again, but Road Dogg comes to make the save, grabs the title belt that Billy Gunn is wielding, and they're all in each other's face. And then fucking what even happens after that? So Jarrett comes to, him and Nash start fighting again in the ring. Jarrett shoves the ref down again. I don't know how many goddamn bumps this ref has taken during this match. But Jarrett shoves the ref, gives Kevin Nash a low blow, even though it's been already established that there's no disqualifications in this match. So Jarrett gives Nash the low blow, gives him the stroke, and gets the 1, 2, 3. Whew. That's a lot. Thoughts?
No, I'm sorry, you're talking to me. Okay. Man, where to start with this match? Okay, so I'm like, this match literally has me speechless. You know, I've been talking shit this whole podcast, but this match was like, what? But first of all, I gotta say, anytime he said cello, made me laugh.
I've said cello more times in the last 5 minutes than I have my whole life.
I feel like I'm gonna be out in the real world. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, my daughter plays the cello." I'm like,
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. Like, first of all, during that match, you know, they went to catering, they dropped all that food. My agent side was like, "No, that food." They wasted that food. Like, you know, like all those fans who were watching that match were like cheering that match on. I would have been that one guy picking up the fry from the floor.
Did you hear Don West when that happened?
No, what do you say?
He was like, "Oh, I'm so bummed. I was gonna bring some of that home for supper."
I think he was serious.
Probably.
Yeah, like I would have been that one fan, like trying to eat the piece of the burger that didn't hit the ground. Like,
Yeah. Has so much Jeff Jarrett's blood on it.
yeah, it's like, what match? Like, actually iron. Anyway, but yeah, like what you like the way you describe that match didn't do it any justice. You know, it was just like, you know how much I shat on the insanely dumb booking of that Dustin Rhodes versus Raven match.
Yeah.
It added the same booker must have been the agent for this match. Because you're right, nothing made goddamn sense. Like what bugged the shit on me was like, yeah, the ref let everything go, right? So then you know, Jeff Jarrett starts working the knee, puts Nash in her figure four, and Nash is just fighting to get to the ropes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the incentive for Jeff Jarrett to let go of the hold?
Exactly.
When Nash gets to the ropes, why would he break it when he's not going to get disqualified anyway?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's one thing where I was like, oh my dear Lord, you know.
There's no consistency.
Yeah, and then and same thing, like, you know, like with all the run-ins, like the run-ins out. This is where I'm going to give TNA credit. The point of a match, right, is to entertain, right? As much as all these run-ins didn't make any goddamn sense, the fans ate it all up.
Yeah, you know, I ate it all up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, and anytime someone new came out, you're like, oh my god, it's Billy Gunn. Oh my god, it's X-Pac, you know? And then, like, here's where, like, I was laughing because, okay, so you know how the ref takes a bump, right?
Which time?
Oh yeah, well, that's a great point, you know? But there's this one point where, oh yeah, so I think Nash takes Jarrett, uses him as a battering ram and hits the ref.
Uh-huh.
And then the ref's out cold, and then of course Nash just hit the ref, but then he goes for the pin, and he gets mad because the ref's knocked out, and he can't count the pin.
He literally like twists him like sideways. Yeah.
But anyway, so Billy Gunn comes out and hits Nash with the chair, right? So the ref just has enough wherewithal to count this, and it's a near fall, you know, and like fine, it's a 2 count, right? So then X-Pac runs out, and the ref passes out again, just so he doesn't look at X-Pac. There was no bump. The ref just he just conveniently passes out, and the X-Pac does his what you know, the X Factor. Which, by the way, like, make fun of me all you want, X-Pac is wearing the exact same outfit he wore that he did in one night in China.
Was he? I was literally like, I saw him as like he's wearing curtains or he's about to go to a YouPorn video after this. And
you're right.
Yes.
I'm gonna give TNA credit as much as assholery that there was in this match. The near falls popped. You know, like you got people kicking out of the X Factor. You got people kicking out of a low blow. You got someone kicking out. Like, you know, it took 2 strokes to win that match. So it's like. So, I mean, as much as I didn't want to like it, I liked it a lot. It was like,
dude, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was watching it, and I was like, this is so bad, but I love it.
Yes. Like, I would actually recommend this match, but I also would recommend someone watching Jackass. You know, it's like,
yeah, exactly. You know, honestly, like, if I had to, like, point to one match to watch from this show, like anybody listening, I'd probably watch this match just because of how ridiculous it was.
And I would tell him to go nowhere near the Raven Dustin Rhodes match
because that was just bad. Like, it wasn't even I mean, it was like a running out of gas bad. This was
Yeah,
car crash bad.
there you go. Or someone just sitting there standing there with an empty gas tank. That's what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
match was.
yeah. Just stutters to a stop and is kind of bummed out.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. Like this match was the main event for a reason. It had the biggest names. So
Hmm.
I mean, I guess I would have been mad if the last match was like Jeff Hammond dropping like a pit stop on Frankie Kazarian,
That's how you send the crowd home happy.
or send them like, well, that's where like that's why you mentioned the crowd. The crowd were hilarious. There was something about
Hmm.
Impact Plus where the crowd like was drowned out, but I could hear like during the Jeff Hammond match, the crowd was chanting "NASCAR sucks, NASCAR,"
I
and then
didn't catch that.
during this match they're chanting "Super Shredder." It's kind of
Oh
so
no.
you know what I'm talking about, right? They're alluding to Kevin Nash in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So it's like this fan was actually a smarky crowd. Like this crowd was, they're actually pretty smarky.
Yeah.
The reason I'm bringing up the fans is they made this event for me.
Oh,
The
for
fans
sure.
totally made this event for me. They were like really hyped the whole event, and I'm just sitting there like, what are they hype about? But you know what? They must have been serving them some good shit before that event.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like a lot of what TNA's charm was because they were always in that impact zone, right? So it's kind of similar to like what NXT was at Full Sail. It's like these people that are like always coming and it's like a very intimate setting, but there's like a good amount of people there. And the people that are there, at least at certain points in TNA's run, they were pretty passionate about what was going on. So I feel like their energy was always high.
And
And
there's no
yeah.
way they paid to get in there.
Oh, exactly. Everything's better when it's free.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree. I think the crowd was pretty well they were hot for stuff that deserved them to be hot.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. They weren't
Yeah.
hot for Raven versus Dustin Rhodes, but nobody was.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, that pretty much wraps it all up. Against All Odds 2005. What a I mean, I will say this. It's not like a show that I feel like somebody needs to go back and watch. But I feel like it's definitely it was a fun watch for what it was, and I think it set up a lot of stories that would continue to unfold in the future. So for that reason, I feel like it served its purpose.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. It was not like one of those must-watch shows, but against all odds, it entertained me.
Yeah, it did. Against all odds of it being TNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, so yeah, man. Any other thoughts, last nickels on this show?
The only other thing I want to add is like Mike Tenay and Don West.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was gonna bring them up earlier. I'm so glad.
Oh no,
glad you
that's
did.
yeah, like those guys deserve the raise because they were able to make anything sound exciting. They were
Yeah.
they were same energy level the whole event. Like it
Mhm.
could have been a headlock. Don West is like, he's gonna rip his hair off. Like it was just those two guys are good at what they do, and
Mhm.
then they added to this event. So the crowd, props to them, props to Don West, and the main thing is this, like this. I was very unfamiliar with TNA, and then this event actually made me interested in watching more, especially how you said like were storylines adding
Mhm.
to future events, adding to future like X Division matches, future feuds, and it's like it did its purpose. It entertained. So thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always. I mean, especially I don't know if you got Impact Plus or how you watch the show, but I mean, it's like $7 a month, and I feel like it's worth it if you just want. Because some people don't like the COVID era stuff, like the lack of crowd and all that. So if you want to go back into a different time and watch some silliness, and I'm not, Impact Plus isn't paying me for this, but I think it's definitely a worthwhile investment if you want to like kind of get away from what's going on nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, and then the other thing is like yeah, you asked me how I watched it. I did get Impact Plus the first month, but I've got 1 month to decide if I'm going to
Yeah.
keep this or if I'm going to get rid of my Disney Plus, which would be kind of hard.
Yeah, Sophie's choice.
Basically,
But yeah, it's like they have current stuff too, so it's a worth. But going back to Mike Tenay and Don West, like I'm so glad you mentioned that because they had like there's something to like commentators having like a true like feeling invested in the show. Like whenever they had their on cameras, you can tell like they were like into the show and they were into the storylines and they just had like high energy throughout the show, like you said. And Mike Tenay is like one of the smartest guys in wrestling, so I think he provides a really good role as a play-by-play guy. And then Don West, I mean, like you said, he can make anything entertaining. He's just like, I don't know how that dude doesn't have migraines every single fucking day with how much he yells and so much energy. And like, they did a really good job, like outside of their energy. Like I brought this up earlier, that opening match with Elix Skipper and Petey Williams. Like for all intents and purposes, this is a match that doesn't really matter. But then they do a really good job at explaining, like, oh, the winner of this match will get high consideration to be in a future title match. Or even like the Dustin Rhodes Raven match. Again, a match that who cares about the stakes, right? But they're like, oh, Dustin Rhodes, he wants to be NWA champion just like his dad. So a win here against a established name in Raven would, provide. And it didn't really help. It didn't really make me enjoy the match necessarily. But all those attempts to like create stories and meaningful stakes in every match, I think added to the show a lot.
I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah. But yeah. That's all I got. So yeah, you guys, GetCho. You guys had an episode drop a few days ago, or I guess when this comes out, it was a few weeks ago. But you guys are back. Why don't you tell everybody about what you guys are doing over there?
Yeah, so we just started. We just came back after a good month and a half off. It's the GetCho boys. Once again, same thing, but that barbershop feel. Like we don't take things too seriously. We have a lot of fun. Like the main thing, like our coup de grace, if you will, our finishers, our sway sessions. Like this past week, we did our own Dream Survivor Series teams, and then the week before that, we did wrestlers if they were horror movie characters. So you guys just we have a lot of fun. We like the same stuff you see on Twitter, we do in real life, and then we're just you'll see that we've been lifelong friends, so we have that chemistry that you guys won't see anywhere else. And then, like, the main thing is wrestling is supposed to be fun, and we make it fun, whether it's fun or not. You're not gonna like every episode, but you're like of wrestling, but you're like every episode of us. So once again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but it's because I love it.
Go for it.
Yeah. So like we could be followed at GetCho podcast. GetCho is GETCHO, like GetCho. That's what we are. Like. So and then me, yeah, like it's all about that podcast. You can find me there too. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got going on.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'll put all the information in the description here too. And yeah, GetCho, like you said, man, you guys have fun. And I feel like when I listen to a podcast, I want to be entertained. And you guys always do that, while, maintaining wrestling and all that stuff. So definitely a good listen. If you like the nonsense that me and Charlie have been spewing in this episode, you'll love their podcast.
Please forget my line of jokes or Raven jokes. Like they were funny in my head when I was like, thinking, but jokes are never funny when you pre-plan them. I'll tell you that right now, guys.
Did you have them written down?
Kind of. It was like written shorthand. It's like, oh my god, that's so funny. Like, it's like, is that Raven or is it that's so Raven? I
enjoyed it. I always enjoy a good Raven Simone reference.
Exactly. It's like I was like thinking like, I had all these like fat Raven jokes, but sort of like, dang it. Unless it's like organic,
I'm going to tell you what, that makes them 10 times more funny now to me.
Yeah, right? I'm like, it was like now that I'm saying it without any pressure of making it funny, I'm like, oh man.
your lack in confidence in the jokes just amplifies how funny.
I honestly hated it when I said it. So anyway, it's not indicative to what our podcast is.
These guys script their whole episode. They all have lines. They go over it. They practice it, and then they perform it for you guys.
I do it in the mirror.
Yeah, I see them. I watch them do it.
Exactly. Like it's my OnlyFans, $29.99 per month.
Yeah. Damn, that's some Zelina Vega prices.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I know Zelina's Vega, so that's better. So I just went 1 cent under.
Yeah. Don't undersell yourself like that.
Yeah, my PP is Aleister Black size, so. Oh man, that felt. Oh, cut that out of your podcast, dude. Just edit button.
I'm going to end it right after.
Oh man! Wait. Yeah, let me go back. Did you say that I had a small cock earlier? What the hell?
No, I thought we were just going to glaze over that. I only assume, right? I mean, I'm Asian too. We all have tiny wieners, right?
Wait, what's this wee stuff? Are you French? I mean, what's going on here?
Hey, we. You know what I'm saying? 4
inches is big, right?
Yeah, flaccid or... On a good day, on a heavy hang day, with like a lot of humidity in the air.
Oh man, it's big. Anyway,
Anyways.
yeah. So thank you
Well,
for having me on. Like I don't mind it like doing a Saturday morning recording because this is fun. It's fun looking back and actually it's new to me. Damn it. So
exactly.
thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. I'd love to have you on again if you want. I hate making you. I feel like I'm like making you an indentured servant if I have you on too many times.
I'll if you'll have me, I'm good, dude. Like 4 a.m, let's do it. 2 a.m, just
Let's fucking go.
that would be a CCW. If it was like 3 a.m, I'd have to be like a bottle of Jack Daniels in, dude.
Dude, yeah, I was about to say, let's just day drink all day, all night, and then get on at 2 a.m. and just try to crawl through an episode.
Yep, it's like am I puking because of the drinking or because of the Raven versus Dustin Rhodes?
Whoever can stay awake the longest wins. But anyways, man, I'll let you continue with your day. Yeah, thanks again for coming on, dude.
Not a problem, man. It's my pleasure.
Once again, thank you to Charlie from the GetCho podcast for joining me today to talk about some TNA Against All Odds 05. Really, really fun time, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, all the info in the description of this podcast for ways to follow Charlie, ways to follow me, apronbump.com, OnlyFans, /apronbump, all the usual, You can get my cosplays up there for a cheap price of $300. So go check that out. And yes, yeah. Once again, thank you guys once again for listening. I'm flaccid.